Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good whatever time of day it may be for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Layback Gamer, and I was going to bring forth another bit of ladder climbing, but I happen to notice that there are some balance changes coming up in a new patch, and I'm guessing this is going to be a pre-patch for the Moons of Elsewhere expansion. So instead of actually going through some games today, I figured we should cover these balance changes, what my opinions are on them. If you agree with it, great. If you disagree with it, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. I haven't gone through this yet. And also, by the way, if you came here just to watch a bit of gameplay, then unfortunately there is going to be none in this episode. I am going to finally get around to uploading a couple of stream highlights, maybe just a couple of interesting games that we had. And that's really. Yeah, apparently I can't talk today. So if you came to this video in hopes to actually watch some Legends content, sorry, there's not going to be any this time around in this video. But stay tuned for the stream highlights. They're probably going to come out a bit later tonight. It's almost 9 where I am. I'm hoping to get them out at around 11. Well, at 11 at the absolute latest. I'm still going to take my dog out for a walk after this. Anyways, in our continued efforts to making the Elder Scrolls Legends as fun as possible, we are making balance changes to several cards in patch 1.11, which is also bringing our next expansion. Okay, this isn't a this is patch 1.11. 2.11 is the actual next expansion. The next time you log into Legend after the release of Moons of Elsewhere, we will credit your account with soul gems for each copy of an affected card you own, up to 3. Soul gems are equal to the difference between the soul summon cost and the soul trap of the value. In other words, if you choose to soul trap the card, you will end up with enough soul gems to create any card of the same rarity. So I'm assuming that it works similar to last time. Last time, I don't think we got any special production for I don't think we got anything special for premium cards. So that is one thing to take into note. I don't think they took that into account. So, yeah. Without further ado, let us review the balance changes. Oh, okay then. Interesting. We actually have a buff instead of a nerf. I was expecting a bit of a nerf. Transitious Shrine. I think I butchered that. 3 mana support for the Empire. The Cyrodiil Empire, and it changed from when you have a creature in each lane, your cards cost 1 less, to while you have a creature in each lane, your creatures and actions cost 1 less. Okay, so never mind, this is a nerf. I mistook the cards here for creatures, and I guess they want it so that you can't really play a lot of supports out quickly, or so that you can't play a lot of items. So let's see their reasoning now. Oh, they actually have no reasoning behind this. Maybe they'll explain it later. I haven't seen any Empire of the Cyrodiilic. I can't talk. The Cyrodiilic Empire deck. There we go. Any of those decks, with the exception of the one that I made, and it didn't run this card. Honestly, I know that it's pretty easy to activate, and I don't. Well, I suppose if you pair it with forward camps, it could possibly get pretty bad. I mean, you play all 3 copies of forward camps, they trigger at the start of your next turn, and because of this, you could play 2 of them on turn 4, another one on turn 5, and then on turn 6 you essentially you get 6 cards, which is pretty great if you manage to break a room, which can pretty crazy. And I suppose for items, I really don't know. I don't know why they're making this change. It doesn't make sense to me. Then again, I haven't ran into this card at all. So the next card we have Disciple of Namira. Ooh, they're going with an old one. Yes. Oh, yes, I like this one. When another friendly creature in this lane dies, draw a card. At the end of each turn, draw a card for each friendly creature that died in Disciple Namira's lane. This was very, very easy to essentially abuse. Very, very easy. Especially if, say, you were playing on the defense. You're playing on the defensive. You're trying to kill a couple of cards. You're trying to kill a couple of cards with some creatures. Maybe you have a couple of actions that don't deal enough damage to kill the disciple. But every time you're attacking and you're going into these are the creatures, you're just feeding them more cards. I'm happy to see this change. I remember this was a pain whenever I saw these. And actually, this is exactly what I thought the change should be, if they were ever to nerf this. I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but this is this would be what I would have changed it to. At the end of each turn, you draw a card for each creature that died in Disciple Namira's lane. So, yeah, now it actually requires this card to survive to the end of the turn. And I think I could kind of, and I haven't seen a lot of the cards, but I'm assuming with the Necromancy effect or the Consume, it's probably going to summon a lot of creatures, especially with a lot of cards that came with the Alliance War, where it generates a bunch of one-cost creatures. You slap a Disciple Namira, or actually just recruit creatures. You slap a Disciple Namira in that lane. The next turn, you get 3 creatures. You trade all 3 of the one-cost, not one cost, but 1 attack, 1 health creatures in. You get essentially free cards. There's this one actually would pair well with an endurance card. I forget the name of it, but it's 4. It costs 4, and it summons 2 1/1 recruits in each lane. Then you could slap a Disciple and Namira up, and that's 2 free cards for the price of 1. And it's pretty easy to trigger. You just trade in the 1 cost. So I am happy to see this changed. It's definitely something that it should be, and it also opens up in terms of design. It doesn't quite kill the card. I don't think it kills the card, because you could still easily play this out on your turn and draw a lot of cards from it. But it does open up a bit more design options for when it comes to actually using or creating cards. That's what I want to say. So happy to see this is gone. Actually, I think the new the consume mechanic or the betrays mechanics could really capitalize on this too. So they don't actually mention why that got changed. Is it? Yeah, we got another one. Oh, Hex Mage. There's a nerf coming for Hex Mage. Okay, that kind of makes. So what's their reasoning? Their goals was to create a wide variety of gameplay experiences and deck using combinations of cards to do powerful things, and much of a part of that. The combo decks built around using Disciple Namira and cost reducers to cycle through their full deck of cheap. Yep, I've experienced this. First, they are a bit too fast right now. Combo decks should require some time to take up. I agree with that. Second, they're frustrating to play against and to spectate. Yeah, I would also agree with that too. And lastly, there are APM heavy combo decks that rely on clicking through different things before the timer goes out, which makes them less viable for players on phone. Yeah, I would agree with that. We don't want that to be the deciding factor in Legends, so we're changing the 2-piece combo since both the Empire and Scout versions suffer from similar issues. Both changes are aimed. Oh, okay. So the shrines, I didn't even realize that was a combo, but the shrines. So then, why did they make it creatures and actions if it benefited that? No, we don't. We're not going to see Endural Hexmage just yet. We don't want to see it. Can't wait to see the changes though. Both of the works the exact same way, except it doesn't reduce the cost of supports or items. I'd kind of hesitate to question on that. I don't really know if on items or supports are the really big thing. I think maybe if you took away the creature part of it and just the creature, I don't know. I've never played with the card. This might seem small in most decks, since most of the decks and creatures, but having to pay full cost for your future shrines and swindlers Okay, yeah, I could actually, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of Swindler's Market or other shrines. So then why items? It doesn't make sense. Like, just take the support one out. You can keep the items. By the sounds of it, it's really just the support's causing the issues, not the items. I don't know. I mean, honestly, you probably could have had just creatures and items, really. Because actions could be a pretty big thing too, especially if you happen to get a bunch of zero cost actions that draw stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I don't play with any. I don't play with either of those cards. Disciple Chain should have little impact on non-combo decks like Doomcrag Warrior. Yeah, I was saying that. Yeah, like I was saying, it's gonna. It should have been. It should have always been like this. And I knew. And I kind of knew that if, like they said here, Doomcrag Warrior, this has no effect over because by the time you're using Namira, Disciple and Namira to try to get a lot of card draw, but for those types of decks, you want to do it on that turn. I think they are going to see a bit more than what they claim though, because sometimes you can draw into another card that'll give you more charge creatures to help clear out your opponent's lanes. There will be a counter to Disciple to indicate how many cards you're going to get when you draw at the end of the turn. A counter. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good that they're going to put a counter on, because you could forget how many cards that you're going to draw from that and accidentally, oops, I just milled myself. Or if you're using this against an opponent and say have a couple of cards that summon creatures for your opponent, you can use that counter at, I don't know. Yeah. Let's just move on. Let's move on. I'm hoping we see Swindler's Market on this, but we saw the Hex Mage. Excuse me? That Endural Hex Mage. I don't think I agree with the attack. I don't really agree with the extra attack there. I mean, shrinking it down to 1 damage, that you should have just stuck it with that. Don't change it to a 5/4. And also, you kind of need to also take Swindler's Market into consideration as well, because, well, honestly, the combo of the deck relies on Swindler's Market. You can have a Hex Mage. I've died just from Swindler's Markets and not a Hex Mage. At least I'm pretty sure I have. Pretty sure they didn't have a Hex Mage on the field, and they were still able to gun me down with the Swindler's Markets just by playing cards. So I don't exactly agree with giving them the extra 1 attack. I guess we'll see how that works, but nerfing this so that it only deals 1 damage is, honestly, I don't think Hex Mage really should have taken the hit. I think it should have went up in a cost and maybe down in damage. Just not what they did. Like, they did half of it, right? I don't think they should have increased that stat though. I think they should have increased this. All right, so the Market Assassin deck that gained popularity after the Alliance War represented a relatively brand new strategy. While we generally including news and the speed and consistency with which the deck was able to win without much in the way of board presence, and Hyatt was a concern. Yeah, that was a big concern. You could go as long as you were still alive, and you happened to draw 2 or 3 copies of Swindler's Market, and just managed to chain out a bunch of 0 cost cards, you were good. There was no skill in playing with that. Yeah, there are games with the 20 damage, but honestly, by that point, like, these guys are dealing 20 damage, sure, and you managed to cut their cost down by 10, but to a Swindler's Market deck, by that point, if you have 2 of them out, you're dead. Like, this sure is this helps to kill you quicker, but I don't Unless there's another nerf to a card further down the list that I'm not seeing. I don't think this was the answer that you're looking for, to be honest. I mean, sure, it increases the time that you got to kill, or it increases the amount of time that you have. I'm not sure how to. Apparently, I can't talk today. I apologize. I don't think this was the right change, personally, for that deck, which we believe will push towards a healthier. No. Oh no, 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 no! They're nerfing my cast at the time. No, no. Oh no, it's so much worse. No, no. Are you kidding? Oh god, no. This is not why I play. This is not why a lot of people play cast into time. They play it so that they can possibly take a really powerful card out of a couple of powerful cards. Because like that's a huge swing play. No, you should have increased the cut. No, no, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with either of these. No, what do you? No. Okay, what's your reasoning? Cast into Time was created at a time where discard piles looped, either Parthenax looping with Solitaire or Galen the Shelter looping with Necromancer were more prevalent. With the advent of other late-game options, these loops aren't as common as they once were, and Cast into Time's effect became more of an annoyance than anything else, as players felt they were being punished simply for playing their cards. I don't really. It just banishes a creature, doesn't banish any of the actions, or honestly, no. I better not see Piercing Twilight. This better not be Twilight. This better not be Piercing Twilight. I don't know. I don't agree with this. I don't think this was a problem. I mean, this is just a this is a worse Piercing Javelin. I disagree with this effect. Like, bring this effect. What I think they should do is bring the effect back, but make it cost Make it cost more. Make it cost maybe 6. But I don't agree with this because that was the whole point of this card. Is you play it, you cast a card into time, and now they don't have access to it anymore. They don't have you've removed all those and sometimes that's a good thing. In the case for Endural Hexmage, if you manage to hit a cast into time on this, you're good. That's what you do. That's the point of this guy. That's the point of the banish mechanic. I don't agree with this. This is just going. I don't agree with this at all. I really don't. I think this is a bad change. Like this, I'm not sure about. I'm leaning towards it possibly, not really mattering in the end. But I don't agree with this one. Sorry, I don't. I'm a little biased, but the whole point of this card was to take a card and all other copies of it out of your opponent's deck. And it sometimes also required a bit of thinking ahead of time. Like, okay, how many cards have he played of this? Is this worth casting into time, or could he possibly have more of these cards in the deck? Like, take some decks. It's pretty easy to predict. Like Daggerfall, Daggerfall Mage. You could you hit it with this, and you're likely to get at least one other copy, if not all three, if they haven't drawn the other one. Say Nixox could be the same thing in Dural Hex Mage. I don't agree with this. I don't. Halahu Oathman. It's now a 1-1. Did that? I don't really know if that mattered. Okay, okay. If I don't like this line. If you're worried about the recursion or consuming, then it's still a piercing javelin alternate that removes a creature from the discard. It's not a piercing javelin alternate, because javelin you can get off of prophecy. You can get that off of prophecy, and this you actually have to wait, and you've removed its primary purpose. I'm gonna move on before I could easily just spend a long time ranting why this shouldn't be, and possibly give a couple other ideas to change it. Halahu Oathman, oops, Defiler's getting nerfed. Has emerged as a premier or aggro has emerged as the premier aggro deck in both ladder and tournament play. I'm not quite sure if I agree with that. I mean, Crusader is still pretty good. So we're making one of Halahu's exclusive cards a little weaker to give other aggressive options a better fighting chance. Okay. Okay. I don't really know what to say about that. It still has the effects, so now you're not playing it for the aggressiveness, like for the strength here. You're just playing it for the effect, and as well as a combo piece. Which, honestly, in a lot of aggressive decks, that is a big point of it. If you get an attack off with it, that's great. If not, then that's okay. At least that's how I see it. But it does it. Well, it will suck for the aggro decks that it is going down, and it could make all the difference. I don't think it's going to change a lot. It'll change a bit, just not a lot. Then we have Defiler. Oh, okay. It now reads from summon a creature from your discard pile to draw a creature from your discard pile, so you now actually have to pay the extra cost. Okay. I'm fine with that change. Because it can be annoying, especially it when a couple of games that I saw with some Slay Warrior decks back before a Sword of Inferno got nerfed, and they couldn't do a hard ramp. One of the other ways that I saw them, coming out on top and pulling off a win is, and it kind of went also with the not Hexmage, but Endural Mastermind, is they would try to put really high cost creatures into their discard pile, play the Defiler, and then say maybe with a Quicksilver Crossbow or just a trade to resummon the creature. Then they would bring out those really high powered creatures. This just essentially says, no, it's going back to your hand. I like the change, but at the same time, it's good and it's bad. I like it and I don't. Just because I thought it was I always thought it was really cool that they could that you get it back and maybe use that as a big swing play. On one hand, that's good. At the same time, it could get annoying again with like I said, if you have a really big creature in your grave, you immediately summon it back out, like maybe a Night Talon Lord, Blood Magic Lord. I've seen Iron Atronach a couple of times, where this, it puts it back in your hand, and now you got to pay the Magicka cost to play it out. So I'm not quite sure. I guess it probably is the best change that they could make. But I don't know. I'm neutral on this one here. Oh, Archer's Gambit got it at something. Yep, yeah, they did it. They told it. That's exactly what I said. That if you're just trying to attack with it, we think it's at a good spot. It's a vulnerable creature with a big payoff when you manage to pull it out. However, as we made more cards that enable slay synergies without endangering the creature itself, it's become too easy to bypass Defiler's vulnerability and have it kill a creature in the same turn. Without this See, I think it would have been a bit better if Falkreath Defiler maybe had a text like when this where if this card battles and kills another creature, then have the slay effect. I think that might have been maybe a bit of a better one. That way you say, okay, you have to battle, and battle is clearly one creature attacking into another one, as we've seen with Squish the Wimpy. Although then I guess would Squish the Wimpy, yeah, Squish the Wimpy would probably also trigger that, and it would cheat it out. Okay, never mind. Never mind. This is probably again, I'm going back with the original point. This is probably the best change they could make. Archer's Gambit gets a cost increase. And Namira's Shrine is getting a nice hit. Let me guess, it's going to require 4 cards. Archer's Gambit was originally intentionally under cost to push building around lethal creatures. Such strategies have proven to no longer need the help, so we're bringing Gambit to a more appropriate cost for its effect. I'd agree with it. Because Quicksilver Crossbow, it gives a creature +1/+1, and then it deals 1 damage. This one just moves a creature around. I agree with that. Now both those cards are on par. However, if they were to increase Archer's Gambit's cost again to 4, I would kind of disagree with that, because then you have Quicksilver Crossbow as a clearly much better option. So yeah, I think this is a fair one here. And Namira's Shrine, am I right? It's gonna cost 4. I bet money on it. Yep. Yes, it does, because playing 3 in some decks is too easy to trigger. Especially if you have all 3 copies out on the field, you just essentially you play 3 cards, you draw 3 cards. It looks like we're getting close to the end. No, not Dawnbreaker. No, what are they nerfing with Dawnbreaker? Although that is a pretty fair nerf. I'd agree with that. It would be a fair thing to nerf Dawnbreaker. Namira's Shrine is the main card advantage engine. It's card draw. It's a card draw engine of several different decks, and we're thinking it's a little too easy to trigger it every turn by just playing the game, especially since it keeps fueling itself. Yup. By moving the trigger from 3 cost to 4, we're hoping to make it so that you actually have to make sacrifices in deck building in order to constantly get a card out of it. Yes. Yes. 100% agree with this choice, though you might want to change the artwork a little bit. Maybe add a fourth blood sphere somewhere around here, sort of change. Because the 3 here, it's you play 3. The 4, it's I suppose it could be right from this guy here, right from that. But all joking aside, I agree with this. This was way too easy to trigger for some decks. As actually, I think in one of the last couple episodes we had for Legend, we saw that this was super easy to trigger. And what are we nerfing on Dawnbreaker? Oh, interesting. Instead of destroy an undead, it's banish the slay undead. If it's banish an undead creature if it slays it. Huh. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Most players use Dawnbreaker to grant it, but what makes the card extra devastating is if the opponent just happens to have an undead creature in play. Yeah, I would agree with that. Sometimes you get that extra effect. Sometimes you just play it for the 4/4. It's nice that they're not nerfing the 4. I thought they were going to nerf that part of it, not the summon, destroy an undead. By turning it from destroy an undead to a clause to slay banish the card if it's undead, we're hoping to. Yeah, I actually find myself agreeing with this change a bit more. I like this change, both in a more of a lore-wise concept as well as a card, because in in Skyrim, whenever you killed an undead, there was a good chance that it would explode in holy fire and possibly causing other undead around it to flee. So this happening to banish the slain undead if it's undead, I agree with it. I'm happy they didn't touch the 4/4 though. That's a big reason why people play it. And if you took that away, you would kill the card, I would say. So this is a good change. And since we already own the card, we're just getting free soul gems. Are we at the bottom? Yeah, that's it. So these changes will go into effect on June 27th with the patch 2.11 and the Moons of Elsewhere. So overall, it kind of started good. I liked it. Well, I didn't understand this one, but I can understand it now. On a curve, it went up. Kind of got a little iffy here. I still am very sour about this change. Very sour. I still don't agree with it. I don't think I will ever agree with it because you're killing the card's purpose. Like that's a big reason why I have Cast into Time in the deck. Without it, I might just only run a couple copies, but it's a worse Piercing Javelin, in my opinion. I could sub that card out. I could probably, most likely, sub that card out and play other cards. Honestly, this makes me consider running Piercing Twilight over this. And that's a card with might I add, that's a card with a similar effect, except it can target actions. You can get rid of anything that's in the grave. So I don't agree with this. It's a bad change. Increase the cost of six, make it harder to play. Done. Halal Oathman didn't really, to me, was okay. Kind of sucks a little bit, but now it's gone from being a big aggro piece to just, being a combo enabler. Defiler, again, I don't know if I would have it as this, but I definitely think that it did need to change. Does need to change. I just don't know which would it would be. 100% agree with Gambit. 100% with the Mirror Shrine, and I'm on board with Dawnbreaker. Not 100%, but I'm on board with it. So don't forget, if you happen to have some spare soul gems lying around, craft up some of these cards. I believe I have all 3 copies of every one of these cards. Well, with the exception of Dawnbreaker, I have 1 copy of that. So I will be getting a lot of soul gems with this next one. And I don't know if you guys know this, but even though we didn't quite hit the amount of likes that I was kind of hoping for on the streams, I did decide at the end of the day that I did want to pre-purchase. So for next episode, I should have it pre-purchased. Also, I managed to fix my online account up, so hopefully we should be able to claim the 15 packs and the card back. So that's 65. I'm working on getting some more gold. And I'm not going to be opening up any more packs. So we could possibly be looking at about an 100 card pack opening. That's going to be so many. Well, not 100 of Moons of Elsewhere, just 100 packs in total. It's going to be so many cards. So many cards, so many soul gems. Hopefully we score a lot of legends, but that's all in the future. For now, though, thank you everybody for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you really enjoyed. I'm pressing F to pay respects to Cast into Time, which should not be nerfed. And I'm not quite sure if changing Endural Hexmage is going to change the Market Assassin deck that's got a lot of popularity at the moment. It might change some situations, but I think for the majority of them, it's not going to make too much of a difference. Comment on if you agree if you disagree with the changes. Maybe you disagree with everything that I've said. Maybe you're in complete agreement. I think a lot of people out there would agree with with these bottom three that they're okay, that they're or not okay, but they're not okay, but they are great changes. I personally like all of these changes that are down here. Less so with this one here. No, I don't agree with you. No, I don't at all. Take it back. Take it back. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on the changes that are coming up. And until next time, take it easy.